Well, hey there, interwebs. How y'all doing? So YouTube, got a little bit of an interesting situation going on. I am just into my third week of no shaving at all until the end of July. There's an excellent reason for this, I promise. Not that it would matter if I didn't shave, but we'll get to that later. This summer, I am going to be in a production of the rock opera Hair, which is a wonderful show, but it is a professional production and I'm getting paid, and part of the show is that you don't shave. I mean, it takes place during the Vietnam War, and the cast is a commune of hippies. So if you're going to be true to your characters, obviously, the women aren't going to be shaving, so that's what we're doing. On a personal level, I like the practice of shaving. As a dancer, hair underneath tights is really it's just itchy. It's annoying. I don't like it. I think that's really all it should come down to, though, whether or not you want to, not whether or not society tells you that you must in order to be an acceptably feminine creature. Society. So messy. So pushy. So bossy. Always telling me what to do. First week wasn't bad. Obviously, it's a week of no shaving. And I can tell you for a fact, if you're a guy watching this, plenty of women go that long in the winter without shaving. Why should you feel the need to? No one's gonna see it. But yeah, there we go. It's not very long, but it'll get long, and I'll deal. I was a little nervous going into it. Pretty much gotten to the point now where, like, I'll probably wear jeans throughout most of the summer and like maxi dresses, but you know, I'm not even gonna care about the armpits. I've never had much trouble with not really caring about what other people think. For those of you who are unaware, women and shaving is a very recent development in human history. We know the last couple thousand years of human history really, really well. And there's plenty before that too, but like those last 2,000 years, pretty well documented. It's only been in the last century that women have started doing this. So there are a lot of women in my generation and who are younger who they have no idea that it's not this thing that's been going on for a very long time because no one tells them. They're just raised to think that in order to be acceptably feminine, you must shave your body. So here we go. Let's take a quick little traipse through the history of women and shaving. If you go all the way back to the Roman Empire, there were women who would shave their legs, but apparently it was only the women of high-class families, and it was usually if they were going to be painted or sculpted or something like that, which is why in Greek and Roman art we see women who are hairless. It was usually only done for that art depiction, though. Moving forward in history, Muslim women, who are known traditionally for being very modest, were actually the very first people to remove their pubic hair. And it was done only on the night before their wedding. It was all body hair, including pubic hair. And it was the men who did it too, not just the women. And outside of that society, that practice wasn't started until pretty much modern day. So that's fun. If we move forward to the Middle Ages, then European women would remove facial hair, but nothing else. Everything else was covered. They would, though, remove their eyebrows to make their foreheads look bigger. Beauty standards, man. In between the Middle Ages and the 1910s, women really did nothing about their body hair in any society. Think about women's fashion, though. Women were expected to cover their arms, cover their legs, show about here to here. That was about it. Sometimes here to here, right? And yet the shoulders were still covered. It wasn't even in the back of people's minds to have women remove their body hair. It just wasn't done. I mean, in some societies, it was probably there to help keep you warm. In the early 1900s, the very first advertisement for women removing body hair appeared, and for that, it was also facial hair. That was it. Shaving of the underarms and the legs didn't exist yet. The underarms weren't even mentioned because that was dirty too. Underarms, after all, are quite scandalous because of their proximity to other body parts. In the late 19-teens and into the roaring 20s, the sleeveless dress appeared for women for the first time ever, and then, and only then, did people notice, oh my, we should get rid of that. And so the first time in human history since the Greek culture and the Muslim women rid themselves of their armpit hair. At the same time in the 1920s, the hemlines were rising and we were suddenly seeing women's legs too. And yet, even though women were shaving their armpits, they weren't shaving their legs. They had stockings to cover them up. It wasn't until World War II that women finally started shaving their legs. And that was because there was a shortage of nylon, which meant no stockings. And in the absence of stockings, women were left with a sudden dilemma. My hairy legs. What should I do about that? There was a little bit of controversy around it too, because on the one hand, women had never removed their leg hair before, and it was considered kind of controversial. On the other hand, women had never been showing off their leg hair before, and that seemed kind of strange too. Western values. I don't know. That leg hair just ain't feminine, apparently. And so, my darling YouTube viewers, in the time between the Second World War and today, we have become so ingrained in the practice of removing our armpit and leg hair that society finds it unusual, slightly subversive, and a little bit rude to leave our body hair, which is just kind of wrong. As I said before, I will be very happy to go back to shaving once the show is over. There is no chance that I'm going to leave it there, but that's a personal thing. I like shaving. I like the practice, personally. What I don't like is the pressure that's put on women to say, you have to. Or, not so much that you have to, but really, we're going to think less of you if you don't. Obviously, there are women in our society who choose not to shave. And more power to them. If they don't want to, why should they have to? But you know, at the very least, they do get judgmental and disapproving looks from strangers in public and rude comments behind their backs. And they don't really deserve that. So what do we have to blame for the normalization of this expectation for women to remove all of the hair from their lower bodies? Porn industry, I'm raising an eyebrow in your direction.
Is that one? I can't tell. I can't, it's both or like the outside?
There. So that's my ramble for today. Women didn't used to shave. Women went a really, really long time without shaving. Suddenly women started shaving, and then the world said, oh, that's nice. Now never stop. Ever. And we went, okay. And a lot of us said, yeah, sure, fine, I like it anyway. And some people went, but I don't want to, and everyone else went, shh. Kind of rude. So, if you feel like thinking that I'm gross for the next few months, you're allowed to. But you know what? I'm getting paid for this show, and I guess this is what you call suffering for your art.
A little bit of suffering. Not very much suffering. A little bit of suffering.
So look for me this summer. I'll be the one with the hairy armpits. Come back again if you want more thoughts from Audrey. Leave some comments below your thoughts on this topic. Let's keep the disparaging remarks to a minimum. And give me a thumbs up. Follow me on Twitter and Pinterest and all of that shabazz. And hopefully I'll see you all next time. Bye! I'll be the one with the hairy armpits.